3 messages this week. Different women, different countries, different life stages, all arriving in my inbox over the same 7 days. 1 5 weeks into oral minoxidil, 1 7 weeks in, and 1, the message that stopped me for a second, a woman a full year in, doing beautifully, suddenly shedding again on a Wednesday morning. Every one of them wrote a version of the same sentence. Esmael, please tell me it's worth it. I'm Esmael Gilis. This is Hair, Hormones, and Honest Talk. And today, episode 4, The Dread Shed, and how long to wait before you change your plan. Quick note before we go in. I'm a hairdresser. I founded Heads, the Art of Hairdressing, back in 1998, and I've been behind the chair for almost 29 years. I'm not a doctor. Nothing in this episode replaces the advice of your GP or your dermatologist. It sits alongside them. If something in here sounds like your situation, that's a conversation to bring to a doctor, not a reason to skip one. Last week, on episode 3, I talked about the first shed, the one that hits around week 3 or 4 when you start minoxidil. Today is about the shed after that, the second wave, the one at month 6, the one at month 12, the one that ambushes you when you thought the hard part was over. Let's get into it. Let me tell you about the 3 messages, because they matter. Woman number 1, 5 weeks in on oral minoxidil. Classic first shed, textbook. She'd read some things online. She was scared, but she was inside the window I described last week. The 8 to 16 week window, where the first shed usually plays out. I could tell her the timeline. I did tell her the timeline. She's fine. Woman number 2, 7 weeks in. Same story, slightly further along, slightly more scared because it hadn't stopped yet. Also inside the window, also fine. Woman number 3, this is the one. A full year in on treatment. Beautiful regrowth for months, density coming back. She'd stopped counting hairs in the drain because she didn't need to anymore. And then, one Wednesday, without warning, the drain was full again. And her message wasn't panicked. It was worse than panicked. It was tired. It was, I thought I was done with this. That's the message I want to talk to you about today, because that's the shed almost nobody warns you about. Here's the thing everyone gets wrong about the dread shed. They think it's a starting out problem. Week 3, week 5, week 7, and then you're clear. If you make it through the first 3 months, you've paid the toll, and now you get to enjoy the regrowth. That is not quite how follicles work. Every hair on your head is on a cycle. It grows for a long time, years. Then it rests for a few months, then it falls out, then a new one starts underneath. On a normal head of hair, those cycles are staggered. Everyone's follicles are on a slightly different point. Some growing, some resting, some falling. It looks quiet. Then you start a treatment like minoxidil or spironolactone, or you change a dose. And the treatment tells a whole group of resting follicles, wake up, grow at once. The first shed, the one at week 5, is the sound of that first group of dead resting hairs being pushed out to make room for the new hairs coming through. But here's the part people don't hear. The follicles that woke up in that first wave, they'll finish their growth cycle together too. 6 months later, 12 months later, they'll all rest together. And then, together, they'll shed together. You didn't undo your progress. You didn't ruin your hair. You synchronized a batch of follicles when you started. And now that same batch has cycled around. It's the echo of the first shed. It's the wave coming back to shore. I'm not saying every second shed is that. I'll come back to when it's not in a few minutes. But I've seen this pattern enough times in enough chairs that when a woman comes to me at month 12 and says, it's happening again, my first question is always, how many hairs did you shed at week 5? Because if the answer is a lot, I already know what we're looking at. Last week, I talked about the 8 to 16 week window. Let me repeat it, because it applies now too. When you start a treatment, or when you change a dose, or when you switch product, The first hair cycle response takes 8 to 16 weeks to play out. Not 1 week, not 2, not 4, sometimes as long as 4 months. If you make a big change inside that window, you stop, you have the dose, you switch products, you add something new, you don't just stop the shed you're in, you restart the clock. The next 8 to 16 weeks start over, and the shed you were midway through gets tangled with a new one triggered by the change. That's how women end up in a permanent shed loop for a year. Not because their hair is broken, because every time the shed frightened them, they changed something, and every change restarted the clock. The single biggest thing I ask women mid-shed to do is nothing. Change nothing. Don't stop, don't have, don't switch, don't add. Sit inside the window and let it play out. Talk to your doctor before you make any change, please. Now, I said, sit inside the window. I didn't say, do nothing forever. So here are the 4 questions I sit with in the chair before I let a client change what she's doing. Question 1. How long have you been on this exact treatment at this exact dose? If the answer is less than 4 months, we don't touch anything. We're inside the window. Full stop. If the answer is between 4 and 6 months, we start paying attention. We're on the edge of the window closing. If the answer is more than 6 months and the shed is worse, not better, now we're having a different conversation. Question 2. When was your last dose change, product change, or new addition? Sometimes women forget. They started spironolactone 2 months ago. They added rosemary oil 6 weeks ago. They doubled the Minoxidil 3 weeks ago because a forum said to. Every one of those actions restarted the clock. So the question isn't how long since you started treatment, it's how long since the last change you made. Question 3. What's happened in your life in the last 3 months? Bereavement, major surgery, a crash diet, a pregnancy, a miscarriage, a COVID infection, a new job with terrible sleep. Any of those can trigger a diffuse shed all on their own, completely unrelated to the treatment, and treatment often gets blamed for something else. Question 4. When was your last blood work? I ask about ferritin, I ask about thyroid, I ask about vitamin D. If any of those numbers has drifted since the last check, the treatment isn't necessarily failing. The raw materials for the new hairs are missing. It's not the treatment's fault. Fix the number, keep the treatment, watch what happens. Only after those 4 questions, and I mean only after, do I entertain the idea that the treatment itself needs to change. And even then, that conversation belongs with the person who prescribed it, not with me. Now the important part. Because I've said the dread shed is often not the treatment failing. I did not say every shed is nothing. 2 patterns to stop scrolling and pick up the phone. Pattern 1. Scalp pain, burning, tenderness, redness, or flaking. The shed itself doesn't hurt. Follicles pushing out old hairs doesn't hurt. If your scalp is stinging, burning, tender to touch, red, flaking, or you can feel where each hair is coming from, that's not the shed. That's a skin reaction, or a possible infection, or an intolerance, or an inflammatory scalp condition. That is not for me, and it is not for Reddit. That is for a dermatologist. This week. Pattern 2. Patchy or clumped loss from specific spots. The shed is diffuse. It's a bit more all over when you brush or wash. Slightly worse at the crown, slightly worse where you part, but evenly. If you're seeing round bald patches or clumps coming out of one specific area, or the temple corners pulling back visibly week to week, or one clear stripe of missing hair, that's a different pattern. That could be traction, that could be alopecia areata, that could be scarring alopecia. Those need eyes on them urgently, not next month, this week. If either of those 2 patterns is you, right now, stop the podcast, book the appointment, come back afterwards. Okay, say none of that is you. Say you're inside the window. Say the treatment is still doing what it's meant to do. Say the second wave has hit and you're just trying to survive it. 3 things. This is the rhythm I give my clients. 1. The monthly ponytail photo. Same day of the month, same light, same phone camera, same brush before you shoot. If you want to be really precise, measure the ponytail circumference with a bit of string. The shed lies to you day to day. Your monthly photo doesn't. In 6 months, you're going to want to compare.